Hello, welcome to this video. I'm Monique Amy. I'm an illustrator based in Boston with a deep love of the fiber arts, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Specifically, 10 new knitting patterns that are catching my eye. And I actually started this list a month or so ago, and a lot of these patterns were still in testing, but I think almost all of them have since been released, so they're ready to be knit up. So that's exciting. Within this list, I have a decent amount of new to me designers. I definitely want to prioritize highlighting those designers over like super well-known designers. I will highlight the features of each pattern that drew me to it and why I think it's cool and interesting. And then I'll also share just general info like the weight of yarn, maybe the fiber content, needle sizes, things like that. I might knit some of these. Obviously, knitting is a slow hobby. I'm not going to knit all of these, but there's definitely some contenders that I will probably cast on at some point. I'm in no rush, of course. Like many knitters, I have a long queue to work through. I thought you might find inspiration from this. I really love making and watching this style of video, and I hope you enjoy it too. And I hope you're cozy and have a nice beverage or whatever, and are knitting, crocheting, whatever you want to be doing while watching this video. So let's get into it. Oh wait, also, do you like this background? I normally film on my couch, which is just over there. We're in my art studio, and I figured I could shift things over, and then this way you can kind of see my like sewing area. I do sew as well. Just felt nice to kind of have a different background. So the first pattern I'm going to start with, and these are in no particular order, but this is the Miri bag, M-I-R-I. This pattern is by Wool.knitwear. I have seen other patterns by this designer, namely the Tomo bandana. I have a friend who made that and it looks awesome. A lot of mohair. I think all of these patterns are mohair patterns, but what we're specifically talking about today is the Miri bag. This is just a small, scrappy mohair bag. This bag just came out this month. I think the pattern can only be found on wool.knitwear.com. I couldn't find it on Ravelry, which was confusing to me, but maybe they just don't have it available there. That's fine. But if you're looking for it on Ravelry, you might not find it there. So you have to go to the actual website. It's like just a small, simple bag. It uses mohair silk, and it's 6 strands held together on 4.5 millimeter needles. So super scrappy. I mean, I guess technically you don't have to do 6 strands of mohair. You could just do like a thicker, fluffy yarn. That would probably be similar. See, I do kind of wish it was on Ravelry because I like that Ravelry has the function to show when you're adding different yarn weights together what they kind of equal. Let me double check to make sure this is not on Ravelry before I claim that. No, I think it's only on the website. So, okay, I'm going to stand by what I'm saying. The size of the bag is approximately 8.66 inches by 7.87 inches. So let's just say like roughly 8 by 8 inches. So not very big. The pattern photos show it as like super scrappy, lots of stripes. I've also seen it as just like color blocks or just fully solid. And so you can really play around with color. Ooh, this would be a great opportunity to marl. So where you do 2 different colors, I guess it would be like 3 strands of one color of mohair, 3 strands of another color of mohair. And then when you knit them together, it gives like this, 2-color random effect. I really like marling. This pattern I am highly considering specifically for Boston Frocktails, which is coming up. Boston Frocktails is on October 3rd. So how far out are we? Oh, we've still got some time, like a month and a half maybe? Yeah, month and a half. So I'm definitely attending Boston Frocktails along with some friends, and it's just an event where you make your outfit and get to meet other sewers, crafters, whatever. So it would be so fun to have a little hand knit bag for the event. And the theme is Enchanted Forest. So like a mossy green bag. Maybe I can add like little mushrooms or something, or like little like an inchworm or a butterfly, something like that. Could be very fun to do, and I think this would be a great pattern for it. I'm like really leaning into the theme, but you don't have to, obviously. You could just do a stripy bag or anything like that. So anyways, the next pattern I want to talk about is the Ripple Loop Tee by Other Loops. And this is probably the biggest designer I'll be talking about today. And I have knit from this designer before. I've done the twist loop top and I really love it. Although I did a bad fiber choice, so I don't tend to wear it a lot. But anyways, I really like this designer's work. This pattern just came out this month in August, and it also uses mohair. So it's mohair held double on 4mm, why did millimeter just sound weird? 4mm needles. And yeah, the texture of this pattern is amazing. It's kind of like vertical waves all over. It looks very light and airy. I originally, when I first saw this pattern, I thought it was cables. I thought it was cables creating that because it kind of gives that look, but it's not. It is actually drop stitches that create that look. And I've never purposely done a drop stitch pattern. So it seems kind of scary to me. I don't know how it works. And that is honestly enticing to me. I love learning new techniques as I'm knitting. So I don't think I have enough mohair to cast this on, especially because it's mohair held double, so it will require more. The one bummer about this pattern, and I'm not sure if it's like this with other loop patterns, but this only comes in 3 sizes. Sizes 1, 2, and 3, so that's not ideal. I don't see too many projects on Ravelry yet, but I would like to see more just to see how this looks on other people's bodies. I guess I'm not totally convinced on this one yet, but it looks cool. It looks fun. I just am really interested in how it's knit up, how this texture is achieved. Do you have to knit the whole thing and then do the drop stitches at the very end, or is it like as you go? I just don't know how it works, and I would love to know. I'm very curious. The next pattern is the Baraka cardigan by Hana Saeid. This is a new to me designer, and this pattern is currently in testing, so I'm eagerly awaiting for this to be released. I guess I'm not in that much of a rush because I wouldn't cast it on right away. I've got things going on. But yeah, new to me designer, a Palestinian Japanese designer, and this cardigan is inspired by traditional Palestinian embroidery. This designer's Instagram is written in Japanese and English, so I'm hoping it will at least be released in Japanese and English, as well as other languages. But yeah, it's a cardigan featuring stranded colorwork motifs inspired by traditional Palestinian embroidery. And then the designer says here, Baraka, so the name of the cardigan, is an Arabic word that broadly means blessing. It also carries the sense of blessings being passed down and shared across generations. May the beauty of Palestinian craftsmanship and traditions continue to be passed down through generations and reach many more people. I really love that. It has like 2 motifs at the front and then a larger panel down the back. I think playing with color for this one would be so fun. The example here is in black and white, which is very refined and nice, but you know I would want to do color. I love color. What would I want to do? I guess I would look at Damson Matter outfits and kind of go from there. Of course, I'm always drawn to brown and blue as of lately, but maybe like a maroon and blue, or I'm also really into like a dark grass green paired with like a light minty color. I think that's quite nice. This designer has 5 designs on Ravelry. Okay, maybe just a quick honorable mention. They have a frill yoke sweater, which looks so cool and structural because it's got these like pleats, or I guess a frill, whatever you want to call it, that comes off the side and wraps all the way around the back to the other side. Honestly, it's giving like medieval armor, which I'm also very into. So anyways, I got distracted. The next pattern is Danois by Camille Marine. This is also a new to me designer. I believe this person is a French designer, and this pattern came out this past July, so quite recently. And yeah, it's available now. It is in English and French. What is really interesting about this pattern, so this is definitely like a summer top, so it's like a sleeveless tank top situation. The buttons are on the side as opposed to in the center, and that's really cool. But then they also stop short. Honestly, it's like at the rib is where the buttons stop, and then it just sort of opens up, which I think is a really cool style. I would be very tempted to knit this next summer. I don't think I would cast it on now. It's a little bit too late for me, but I could see myself doing it in the future. So it is sport weight summer fiber yarn, so cotton, linen, things like that, on 3mm needles. Video tutorials come with the pattern. I love when that happens. Are there many projects yet? No. There's not really many projects at all on Ravelry, so I would like to see that, just again to see what it looks like on other people's bodies. I feel like, you know, the designers' pattern photos are always meant to draw you in because it looks so good, and they've got maybe professional photos, or they're just, you know, making sure it looks really nice. But I want to see like the average person just throwing on the top, what that looks like. So I do really like looking under projects to see that information. So yeah, that one's catching my eye. This pattern comes in a size X small all the way to 5XL. It specifically was done in Issachar Yarn Trio 2, which I've never used, but I have seen quite a few designers use this yarn. And that is 50% cellulose, which is like a linen flax blend, 30% cotton, 20% manufactured fibers, so Tencel, Lyocell. Anyways, I think it's a very good lightweight summer yarn. The next pattern is the Mia Blouse by Moreca Knit. Oh yeah, I'm excited about this one. I might cast this on for the fall if I have the right yarn at some point. Maybe I already do actually. So it is fingering and lace weight yarn held together, which gives you sport weight yarn. And it's a pullover style sweater with, is it called like a Henley when you have like all the buttons going down? I don't know if a Henley is only like a short opening. This is quite a longer opening. Anyways, and there's like a ton of buttons. They're all like, they're spaced very close together, which I'm very into. I think it's a great opportunity to play with buttons, like whether you find vintage buttons or maybe it's a bunch of mismatched buttons, or they're all the same, but they are playing with the color of the yarn. I have some really small, obnoxiously bright orange buttons that would be really fun. And even if it was just like a brown, like something dark and neutral with such a pop of color, could be fun. I could be into that. This also is X small all the way to 5XL. This pattern just came out in August. I would say getting the right fit for this and picking the right size, I think would be quite important, because I was, again, looking at the project photos and it mostly looks great, but I did notice a couple where there's like some bunching that happens right at the neckline. I don't know what causes that. I feel like I watched a video at some point and someone was explaining why that happens, but I wouldn't want that to happen to me. I wouldn't want like this bunching up here on the neckline. So I don't know if that means it's like too tight around the shoulders. If you know, let me know. I would just watch out for that. This pattern was knit with Classic by Cardiff Cashmere. I've yet to try cashmere yarn, and that probably won't be happening anytime soon, but it just looks very luxurious and soft. I would probably choose something like a merino wool or something a little less pricey. And I do really like it with a pop of color. Ooh, there's this one that looks so nice. It's like brown with mother of pearl star buttons. Love that. Very good. And yeah, the neckline is what drew me to this. It's this, you know, like Henley button situation, but then I guess it's like a mock neck, or it just kind of keeps going and it looks very smooth and the shaping looks very sophisticated. It just looks very luxurious. The next pattern I'd like to talk about is the Squiggle sweater by Eden Moon. And this just came out this month as well. As I'm recording this, it is August 16th. So this is a new to me designer, although I'm pretty sure I follow this person on Instagram. So this is a basic boxy raglan, nothing too new there, but what drew me to this pattern and what I think is really nice about it is the raglan has like a squiggle cable along it. And I just think that's so like such a nice design feature for an otherwise like pretty basic sweater. The shaping looks great, and the neck is kind of just like a raw rolled neckline. And then it looks like maybe like 2x3 ribbing for everywhere else, like the sleeves and the hem with a bit of a rolled edge. And that looks really nice. This was knit with a cotton yarn, so it uses DK weight yarn. So I think this would be the perfect summer evening throw on sweater. I think it would be so comfy, especially if it's like a little oversized, it's got the boxy fit. Or summer mornings, it's a little chilly, maybe like late summer, early fall, a little chilly in the morning. You make yourself coffee, you're reading your book, you're wearing this sweater. Oh, the vibes are good. And I also believe that this is the first pattern from this designer, which is very exciting, and I can't wait to see what else they come up with. I would say I would probably do an off-white or a light color. I am obsessed with periwinkle blue, so that's a contender for sure. I think it's like Knitting for Olive blueberry. Knitting for Olive blueberry ice cream, that colorway. I really want that yarn. I really want it. Anyways, what I'm trying to say, I would do a lighter color yarn so that the cable squiggle can be seen. It would still be visible on a darker sweater. Honestly, navy blue could be quite nice, but it's just a little bit less visible. Next, I have a sock pattern. I am not really a sock knitter, unfortunately. I would like to be. I just haven't quite made it. I have knit a few pairs of socks. One I think fits all right. I haven't gotten it down where it feels easy. And then also I definitely get second sock syndrome. I currently have one sock done out of two. And at this point, I don't even remember what needles I used. So not ideal. Anyways, that's a little background on my relationship to sock knitting. This pattern looks so good. So this is the Meadow socks. This is the Meadow socks by Morgenstund Making. They came out in June of this year. It is the first knitting pattern by this designer. However, this designer mostly does sewing patterns, so they are familiar with like writing patterns. That reminds me, because she has an amazing project bag that I really want to make. It's the Ida project bag, specifically the version with like the quilt motif that runs along it. I really want to make that. Seeing this pattern was a nice reminder that I do want to make that project bag. And yeah, these socks are so darling, so cute. So they have a flower motif along the sides, and then you can kind of do some color blocking with like the heel and toe and the top of the cuff. So why I want to specifically highlight this pattern is the color work uses ladderback jacquard, which I've never done before, but I have heard of it. I have no clue how it works. If I'm being honest, I've never looked it up, so I don't know how it works, but it's definitely different from stranded color work, where you need to be mindful of how you space your color work motifs. Like stranded color work tends to have very frequent color changes so that you can easily carry the yarn, if that makes sense. This sock pattern just has the big flower on each side, and like then the whole front I think is plain, so that's a lot of spacing. So stranded color work would not be ideal for this type of look. I am excited to eventually learn this technique and be able to explain it better, probably. I guess I would also maybe want to finally try 2 at a time sock knitting. I also don't fully understand how that works, but I think that is something I might need to do. Anyways, this pattern it is out in English and German, and there are video tutorials. So that's great. I also am specifically obsessed with one of the project photos. I'll pull it up. Laura Loves Knits Meadow Socks, because it's 3 colors: periwinkle blue, or like a gray blue, a maroon red, and then like a deep forest green. Perfect combo. No notes. Love them. Honestly, I would like to copy these socks. Exactly. I would also guess the ribbing on the cuff looks very defined in a way that makes me think that it's twisted rib, and I think that looks really nice. I could see myself casting these on in the fall. I guess I should look through my stash to see what sock yarn I have. Next is a wild card. This is the Phone Pocket Bag by Grognormal's World. I think that's how you say that. This is wild. It's a free pattern, so that's exciting. But yeah, it looks really fun. It looks like a good stash buster. Basically, it's a little phone bag that you could attach to your purse or bag and just kind of have it hang on the outside, or like hang off of a strap or something. Maybe, you're going to an event where you can't have a large bag. Like I just went to a Red Sox game and they don't allow you to have a large bag. This would be perfect. That's kind of what I would maybe use this for. It's negative ease, meant to stretch around the phone. Probably could be used to hold other things as well. Like a little notebook, a very small water bottle. I'm sure there's other options. This is a new to me designer. This is their first pattern. Very exciting. I could see this being a very good gift knit. It uses fingering sock yarn on 2mm needles, but it only uses about 38 grams in the pattern. So easily a stash busting project. You have some scrap yarn from knitting socks or something. There you go. I do really like the highlighter yellow green that the designer knit up. And yeah, I really like the texture, this grid texture that is created. And in the project photos, they look great. Okay. Are you still with me? I've got 2 more. Next is the Rolled Raglan by Jules Efterfield. It's exactly what it sounds like. It is a boxy structured raglan with a rolled neckline. This came out in July. This designer also released the roomy raglan, which is kind of, I think it's Baba inspired, and I think it's quite popular because of that. So I think this designer is good at doing like structured sweaters, which sometimes you want. You don't want all drape all the time. Sometimes you want something really structured. And to do that, you use a bit more of a dense gauge to create that look. So this is sport plus sport yarn equals Aran weight on 5.5 millimeter needles. And it's meant to have a bit of a boxy cropped fit. And again, I really like the rib details. I think it's 3x1. Can be knit with cotton or wool. So cotton would make it a nice summer evening type of sweater. Wool, to wear it all winter. I also want to highlight, I think this would be a really great canvas for duplicate stitching. I've been wanting to do that for a while on a sweater and kind of come up with my own design. So I kind of always have my eye out for the right base pattern, and this could be perfect because it is otherwise a pretty simple knit, and I think having that dense fabric would lend itself well to duplicate stitching. Speaking of duplicate stitching, I am so excited to talk about this last pattern. I might have saved the best for last. This is the Heritage Pullover by Rose.thornandneedles. I believe that's the designer's name. This just came out in August. A lot of these patterns I found organically on Instagram and I just saved them. And then, I was probably like at 8 patterns. And, this is not in any particular order, but I was probably at 8 patterns. I would like to get to 10 to make a video about it. So then I decided to look on Ravelry for just new patterns. That's how I found this one. And I cannot believe I didn't see it on Instagram or Pinterest or anything like that, because my jaw dropped. Yeah, I just think it's amazing. So it's a grid texture sweater, and then within these like large grids are opportunities to do color work. So I'm guessing this is duplicate stitching. I don't think it actually says anywhere, at least not on Ravelry, that it's duplicate stitching, but when I look closely, like the yarn looks a bit raised where there's color work, which usually means it would be like duplicate stitching because you're adding yarn on top of yarn, so it does add a little bit of thickness. I am assuming that, I don't know for sure. The pattern comes with 40 plus colorwork charts, 11 stitch textures, and 5 layout options. Yeah, I'm curious what that means, if the designer suggests where you place the colorwork items. Anyways, it's inspired by folk art, which I love. It would just be such a truly unique piece, because even though this is a pattern and, it comes with a set amount of colorwork charts, although you could totally make your own. But it comes with all of that. Like, it would be nearly impossible to make an identical sweater as someone else, And I think that's so cool. There's not that many projects yet, so we got to fix that. I think we all should cast this on this fall. Let me know if you want in, but I'm excited about this. Oh, I might have yarn for it. Oh yeah, so wait, what yarn does this use? Oh, okay, worsted weight yarn. The designer used Patton's North America Classic Wool Worsted. They note that it is an airy cropped fit. Ooh, they do currently say, so it's currently available in size small to 2XL. But they say here on Ravelry, reach out on Instagram if you're interested in testing 3XL to 5XL. So they do want to expand the range, which is great. They just need the testers. So if that's you and you want to knit this, reach out to them. I do really like the designer's version with kind of this, it's kind of warm toned gray brown, I guess like a light brown base yarn. I think that's pretty good for a background color, because then when you do your colorwork motifs, it's kind of just like a neutral background. You could easily go darker, so you can have like black, dark brown, maroon, and then you could easily go lighter. You could have like this, the designer has like mint green, off-white, light pink, things like that. I think it just shows off the colors quite nicely and gives you a bit of range. Oh, I like the 4-leaf clover. I like the flower. I like the snail, the swan. Oh my God, the martini. I like that. There's a quilt block, a carrot. These are awesome. But also I think once you know the, dimensions of the colorwork grid, you can then just design your own if you feel strongly about that. Oh, it's so darling. Okay, yeah, I think I might need to cast that on. Let me know if you want to cast it on too. Maybe we could do something together. that is everything for now. I am feeling very inspired. I hope you are too. I currently have a couple of summer knits I need to finish up, but once I do that, I'm gonna start casting on for fall and winter. I'm very excited to get my hands on some woolly yarn again. Let me know if you plan on knitting any of these patterns, or if you have any other new patterns you want to let me know about. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.